Welcome to 4 proven steps to manifest anything. What? 4 steps? That's insane. No, it's actually not. What's insane is how we're living our lives now, because you already hold all the power. It's not out there. It's not something you have to bring in here. No meditation or vision board's going to do it. It's actually quite simple. I say that, but there's some deprogramming that has to take place. So we're going to cover all of that here in the 4 proven steps. Where do we start? When we break through fear, we move past the limitations that are holding us back from receiving, or let's just say entangling with all the probabilities that exist right now that are ours without judgment. It's just a choice. But your choice right now may be fear, anger, resentment, and a whole host of programmed information and decisions and opinions and beliefs, mostly beliefs, that keep you in this track and you don't even know what you don't know. So we're going to talk about that right now. Okay, get comfortable. Why is fear a manifesting block? And how do you break through it? Why is fear the barrier to you manifesting anything? Fear is a story. It's a belief. And you are thinking and acting on it. It's driving everything in your life. It drives whether or not you let your feet dangle over the bed after seeing a scary movie. Because even though you know there's nothing under there that's going to grab your feet, there's still that fear that makes you pick up those feet and put them in the bed under the covers. This is the beauty of fear and also the limitations that it creates. But you're in charge of that. Fear is a barrier. Absolutely. Now we're going to talk about a few other subjects in there, why law of attraction doesn't work. It's directly related to your beliefs. So let's start with that fear, because breakthrough fear is my whole platform is based on that. Once you break through it, there is nothing you can't achieve. Well, you say break through it, I want to eliminate it. You will never eliminate it here on this planet, because it is part of the programming that allows us to experience the things that we do. It makes life exciting. It challenges us. It motivates us. If you weren't afraid of being a bag person on the street, you wouldn't work harder to earn money, get that higher paying job, get the degree, or start an online business like I have, whatever it is. You wouldn't be driven. Fear is a driving factor in a material world that can work in our favor. Why do we need to break through it? We're going to use it. And then when we get to the point where fear starts to control you, we go into what I call observation. And I have a whole series of steps that I take you through and break through fear, which is my training. But today, if you follow these 4 steps, there's nothing stopping you from transforming your life. That's a tall order. I mean it. Why? Because it's not something you need to get to. There's nothing to get to. You already have it. It's everything else that is the illusion. Now, if it wasn't, right, then we wouldn't pass away and move on to something else, right? We would be this at all times. This is what we are, but it's not. We transform. Right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It just transitions into another form of itself. And that's you. This is one form, one journey, one experience. And you are the creator. This is the toughest part. My students actually grasping this concept in their mind that I'm the creator, because we separate ourselves and we think that there's a man out there with a beard and that, there's Jesus Christ or whoever it is you believe in that are real people, real situations, right? But we separate ourselves from all of that. They too are part of the experience, the illusion, except for the one. The one source is the energy field, the light and the power of all light, all love, all unconditional love. No judgment. That's the highest point of this beautiful source that is experiencing everything. So if everything's one thing, then the creation of the struggle and the darkness is also source. That's a very difficult thing for most people to wrap their head around. Yeah. So we're going to discuss that. And we're going to go into why law of attraction doesn't work, what does work, what you can start implementing today. I'm Landria, Onkka. I'm going to introduce myself now because you probably don't know who I am. No, maybe you do. I don't know. Let's just recap it. I was an investment banker for 20 years after having a very wonderful childhood in the Midwest. I had lovely parents. I didn't have any trauma in my childhood. I was quite an achiever. In fact, my mother said she doesn't know who I was. She was always convinced that somebody had a baby and dropped me off on her porch. I knew I was different. She did. Everybody knew I was different. I came here on a mission. And so I lived an amazing life. I was doing what people call miracles. What's a miracle? Well, I'll explain to you in just a moment. It was, let's say, defying the odds that I was doing. I was always lucky. I got on the NBA cheerleading squad. They only picked 2 people. I can't even do a backflip. There's hundreds of girls trying out. I thought, why not me? And so then I went after a scholarship on Capitol Hill to be a writer, an internship, and it was paid. So that was a really cool thing. To work for a congressman, what an honor. And so I went to apply and they said, Landria, this program not only is closed, but that position's filled. I said, you know what? I'm going to fill this out and give it to you anyways. And I thought, why not me? I believe in miracles. And I'll tell you again in a moment what that really is. And so they gave me a call a few days later and said, the gentleman who had that position, he's at Harvard, he wanted to study with a law firm and that position opened. He took it and now it's vacated. If you can be here next week, it's yours. And I said, I'm driving down to Washington, D.C. Why not me? And so I tried out for a scholarship overseas to work for Bayer Corporation in Germany and go to University of Cologne on a scholarship. I'd never taken a German lesson in my life, but I taught myself German, and I didn't know the textbook version of that. So I went back to the United States. I was living in Germany at the time for a very short period of time. Went back to the United States, took a semester, and I was in there with 8-year students, applied for a scholarship to go back overseas. Yeah, me. They chose 20 students out of hundreds and hundreds, well actually thousands across the country. Why not me? And I got it. And this has really been my entire life. I walk into stores here when we have parties, one in particular, there's a joke there. Oh, here she is. She's going to get the prize. And yep, they pull my name pretty much all the time. They pull my name out and why not me? That's not luck. I do not have the barriers that other people have. But now I have to just share with you also, because this is part of what you're going to learn here. And that is, challenges are intentional. They're the only way we grow and evolve. And through these challenges, you're gaining what you came here to receive. And that is to master things, to be the person that has the opportunity to step up and make a difference, opportunities to be greater, moving past the limitations. It's all part of the equation here, the game. So, of course, I've had my challenges. I got into investment banking. I never studied for it, of course. Why not me? But I didn't love it. I actually spent 20 years in it. And I had to ask myself, what am I doing here? I traveled all the world. I was with wealthy people and pro athletes and actors and on private jets, and it was pretty exciting. Yeah, I worked on Wall Street and with some pretty big firms, with some very important people, right? With some very important people. But it wasn't doing it for me. There was something bigger I had to do. And so a series of events happened. I was married at the time. I went through a divorce. It was no big deal. We parted as good friends. And my mother died 2 months after that. My dog then died. My dad died. My brother, who's only a year older than me, died. My cousin died, who was my mom's best friend. And then another cousin of mine just died. My aunt and uncle died. This is a series of events that keep, and these were fairly sudden. There was only a couple of them that were not a surprise. And I realized, I call them my team, these were people in my life for a specific reason. They helped facilitate my appearance here in my life. And they were wonderful, and they exited. And I realized, well, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? Am I really going after the things I love in my life? And this is a very important part for you to listen to. Are you? Are you going after the things you love in life? How was I earning money? It didn't feel right. The financial industry is very disturbing and challenging. And I thought, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. But if I don't do something, if I don't make a decision, no praying or mantras is going to change that. I had to take action. And so upon the loss of all of my family, I quit my investment banking position, and I had had a foot problem that was so painful. I knew I was going to have an operation. Every morning, this searing pain would go up my foot, and I was running on it. It would swell up. I finally resigned and said, just going to have to go get the operation and buck up. But after I made that decision, I had a spontaneous healing. People were actually in the room with me. I was aware of it. I was in a theta state of sleep. I was aware that there were people, entities of some kind. And you might think this is a little out there, but it's true for me. And I was aware that my foot was being worked on. I heard a pop. I didn't have any pain, but I was aware that it was being moved around. I fell back asleep, and when I woke up, I had no pain, and to this day I have no pain. I was going in the wrong direction. So when I made that change in my life, the physical issues were reflecting that decision. I then knew that I had to write a book. I wrote The Rooftop Christmas Tree. It's based on a true story that a friend shared with me. And it became a bestseller, award winner, and it became a television movie. It's actually on Amazon Prime and became a part of the Hallmark movie channel family. That's insane. On the first book, now why not me? I knew it. I didn't have a barrier between me and that happening. And so I went after other things. I created online businesses, my own brands, and this is why I'm sitting here with you. I had a dream, one of those. And someone came to me, a beautiful man in a robe. I was in a beautiful city where there were pathways and lights illuminating waterways and beautiful Roman buildings. Yeah, we've heard this before, right? It's a place somewhere in some illusion out there, and it's beautiful. And so I was getting ready to go into a building to manifest things. And before I did, he stopped me and said, before you go in there, I have a question for you. I said, sure. Why did you come down here to be with us? What an odd question, isn't it? Have you had these dreams before? Pay attention to them. And I said, I don't understand what you mean. And he turned me around. And on the other side, as if it was in a different reality, there were mountains, and it looked like ants. And I realized there were people just walking. They were totally unaware of us, just walking and walking and walking. Yes, the density that was out there. And when I touched his robe, I got to feel the unconditional love that he felt for all these nobodies. And then I realized I had something to do. And so when I woke up, I went on a mission. And so I sit here with you to teach you how to break through fear and let you know that there are realms and probabilities that exist right here. It's nothing to get to. So breaking through fear means that when you come into this body and you create that persona, you take it on. What role am I going to play before I go on stage and come here? You believe the role. And so thus the challenges come in, and it's not a punishment. And if you miss out on that, you miss out on the divine purpose of the challenges, and the whole reason we came here to what seems to not make much sense at all. When we break through the fear, we realize it's all designed for us and we can use it in a positive way. And so when I go on the other side of that, there are no barriers. Every barrier is a thought, I can't, I'm not good enough, the anger that you hold for people because you find no purpose in it. You think that, they're the problem when actually the fear is just being passed down. So they have done things to you, anybody has, because they hold fear or anger or whatever it is, it's fear, that was passed on from their experiences and their parents or whatever situation they went through that was passed on by theirs and theirs and theirs. It's not their fault, but we blame them. We see them as a singular problem. And when we back it all up, we realize we have to be the change maker. The buck stops here. We have to break the patterns. And that starts with your beliefs and your thoughts. So when you realize, maybe my mission, my whole purpose is to find that compassion. Not approval, doesn't have to be approval. My compassion for that person, those people, that situation, because you entangled with it for a specific reason. You're never a victim. So let's move on to our next subject. Why law of attraction doesn't work. Actually, law of attraction was coined well over 100 years ago, maybe 150 years ago, when people started to catch on that, wait a minute, what I'm thinking is sort of happening out there, coincidences, and actually it's quantum physics. But they didn't have quantum physics back there, so they called it law of attraction. If I do this, this is attracted to me. Why I don't believe in it? Because you cannot be in the basement. My father has many mansions, I always say. Here's a mansion, which is planet Earth's program. This is the game. We're in a mansion, many mansions. There's many games going on out there. We're in this one, and there's a basement. And it's dark, and you don't even know there's a penthouse, and you can't attract the penthouse down to the basement. There's no attracting anything. You have to just tune into the frequency. That's it. Gotta get rid of the thinking, change the thinking, open yourself up, go into compassion, giving, know that everything has divine purpose. Get on the elevator, you're raising your frequency, and you keep getting further up, further up. Pretty soon it's so beautiful up there. They serve champagne. People are abundant. Yeah, that's all it is. So you can't listen to rock and roll or listen to classical. If you're tuned into rock and roll, you can't hear classical music, vice versa, right? If you want to listen to classical, you gotta change the dial. You don't sit and on this station and say, I want classical music to come in, I want it to come in. There's nothing to attract. No, it is done. No, it is done. These things you shall do and more, ye are all gods. So the separation that we have in our head is what makes us believe that there's something to ask for. There's something that I'm going to draw in. Now, asking is given. Very real. All of that works. But not because you're separate from it, but because you're actually implementing the very thing that you desire. You're actually creating the very thing you desire. You're doing it. Are there other factors? Yes, of course, and there are other players, and there are other things going on, and we have timelines, and of course, the challenges that offer all the opportunities. There are a lot of other things going on. But I assure you, if you understand that you just have to become that, just become that. I cannot be thinking lack and pray for abundance, because my prayer for abundance is saying, I don't have it. You need to give it to me. I can't create it myself. And so action must be taken. And what does that mean? I have to live and do what it is. Now, I can't say, I am wealthy, and then you're struggling to pay your bills. Say, I know it is done. So while I'm, trying to get these bills paid, what else is going to happen? I know it is here. I know it is, I'm stepping into it now. So there may be some things you have to do. What works? You have to become that. So in other words, you say, if this is working here and I'm in this frequency and I can't attract that in this frequency, then I have to shift into something else. I have to change that mindset. I am good enough. What else can I do? Miracles are possible, and we'll talk about miracles, of course, here in a moment. And that is that I shift into that. So miracles aren't something you get. It is the perfect state of being you already are, and you stop believing the things that you aren't. That's a miracle. Pretty cool, huh? I'm already perfect. So if you've ever seen Greg Braden, he went and studied these Chinese healers that were healing a woman that nobody could heal, including physicians here in the United States. And so they did this little saying that they did, and I can't remember exactly what it was, and they moved their hands, and Greg Braden, and watched this woman heal, the tumor shrinking inside of her, the cancerous tumor. And he asked them, how did you heal her? And they said, we didn't. We saw her as perfect. We saw her as perfect. So they didn't see a sick woman that they were healing. They saw a perfect woman. So they didn't see the illusion. They looked at what was already there, and that was the perfection. Your miracle's already here. It's everything else that you believe that is the barrier, that fear, that's the barrier to you living it. So when you focus strictly on it, and I have a little saying, I think this is from the Master Key System, it doesn't matter, they all learn from one another. I am that which I will to be, because I'm a creator. I'm one of endless creators. Everything's a creator. A tree's a creator. It keeps propagating and creating more little trees and going back into the ground and fertilizing the ground. We're all creators. We're creating. We're just transforming into other things. So if you want something different, transform into it. I have to become that. I cannot remain here. But we hang on to that because we have fear, right? That is why it doesn't work for people. They think there's something separate. There's nothing separate from you. And when you realize my thought's creating, you better change them real quick. You are already that. You are all probabilities. You get to choose it. So choose wisely. Focus. Ask and it is given means it is already done. But be clear on that. You can't be wishy-washy, because if you are, then the universe will give you whatever, because you and it are the one creators, and that's what will come to you. So if you're ready to choose something, be clear on it. And even if you have your doubts, just work on that. Recognize the fear and the stories. You don't have to believe them anymore. And you will see results right away. In fact, I've had people that have had one session with me and had amazing miracles. Healings, all kinds of things. They all of a sudden realized they were going into this space of perfection. I host a miracle circle where we do that every month. We go into that circle of miracles. We step into the perfection of everything. We see the planet and others as perfect. We see ourselves as perfect. And all of a sudden, the other problems, they melt away, they dissolve. Those are the illusions that you can let go. And that's how it works. You can start doing it today. And it takes real observation. You've got to be on your game at every moment, because there's a lot of triggers in programming, and that's okay. Don't battle that. Just recognize it. So let's move on to our next proven step. How to end suffering. Right? How do you end suffering? Suffering is when you struggle against something. I'm suffering because I'm telling myself a story, and the story is always, this isn't how things should be. That's it. I'm struggling because I don't like where I am, and I want it to be different. Experiencing pain, loss, whatever it is not struggle. Okay? You can have sadness, you can experience challenges. Struggle is when you battle them. Struggle is, I want to get out of this bag, instead of relaxing and saying, whew, and then it falls off. That's it. When you accept that you're in a specific situation or whatever's happening in your life because you, A, contributed toward it, entangled with it, and it has purpose, you have to look at those factors and say, what did I do up to this point that got me here? I didn't just get sick or just get broke or just have a bad relationship. I had to participate in it. I had to say yes at some point. I had to have certain behaviors or thoughts behind that that entangled with that. All right? So once you recognize that, you have to ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? Right? What is the divine purpose of this? I can change it. Yeah, I don't have to stay in it. I can learn from this. There's divine purpose. I'm going to learn from this. That I don't have to struggle or suffer. That I don't have to be sick. I am perfect. I just learned something amazing. I'm not really the sick person. I'm the perfect person. The sick person is the one that believes all these negative thoughts that keeps my body in disharmony. Right? That's the fear and all the things. And then so it's reflected in your body. And so when you let it go, the body is already perfect, returns to that state of being. This is how you end struggle. I see the divine purpose in it. I take responsibility for my participation. I can change absolutely anything. There's an opportunity here. All right, what are the alternatives? What are the options for me? And I can be the demonstration of triumph. Maybe I went through this so I can teach others how to do it. It could be any number of things. Only you will know for sure why things are happening. And you'll see them differently. And you must in order for you to go into that space. All right, so I promised 4 steps. How you can go into that unlimited space today. When you implement these 3 proven steps, nothing's stopping you. Be the observer, take responsibility, find the divine purpose. Miracles are things that happen randomly and not very often because we rarely go into the space of that which we are. We're so entrenched in the density here. We believe the material world. We believe that we have to protect ourselves, separate ourselves. We judge others. You gotta let it all go. You gotta let it all go. And then you step into the space. The miracle's no longer a miracle. It's just a state of being. It's just who and what I am. And it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, and so are you. You have to know this and know that the rest is the game, and play it out. Don't miss the opportunity to feel loss. What's it like to lose your family? What's it like to lose anybody? Because we actually don't. But we get to experience what that feels like. What's it like to be angry? What's it like to see others harm one another? It's frustrating, isn't it? It's disheartening. But we came here with a divine purpose to contribute toward that. Not to change someone else, but to light the pathway for them so that they can make different choices. So you see, we all have free will. You cannot infringe on that. If you try to, you're coming from ego. And that means you have some work to do. If you condemn others for not being spiritual or religious, whatever it is you're believing in, then you are in density and separation, and that is not the one source of light and love. Because the Creator made everything, including that which you're judging, right? This you do to the least of us, you do to me. Well, ye are all gods, these things you shall do and more. You can end suffering. You can end it all right now. Just know that you can experience it. You can still experience it and get what you're supposed to receive here through the human experience. Don't miss out on that. You don't want to bypass it. Just say, what can I do with this? What can I do with that tragic past or that relationship that hurt me so badly? What can I do with that? And share it and shine a new light on it and be the change maker. And so some of you may know I have written Breakthrough Fear. You'll get a chance to see that here. You will also get an opportunity to schedule a discovery call with me, because what I'm going to do is to talk to you about what your next steps are. What do you need to do to step into that space, the miracle space, the the space that of which you are, that gets to experience this and accepts this and doesn't struggle with it anymore. If that's something you want to pursue, you can schedule a discovery call with me. You're going to see it pop up here and click. I don't take everybody into my courses. And once you see this, you may want to come into Breakthrough Fear, or maybe you just join the Miracle Circle. That's a once a month meeting, but you get assignments. So you spend 30 days working on this, breaking through the barriers. And we go into the miracle space. I'm giving you a lot of options. And we'll talk about digitalexplorers.net. I have people all over the world who want to earn money doing amazing things. So I realized once we become these understanding, beautiful beings, what do we do with it when we go into jobs we hate or we're destroying the planet? So I created an option for you there, and we can talk about that in the discovery call. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to create an online business doing something amazing and you don't know what that is, I created an option. And this is how I want to present to you today. I want you to know you can live your life. Is be the change maker that creates the options, that shines the light. Allow people ways out of where they are. Instead of the criticism and the judgment, we can create a new pathway, but they still have to choose. I'm creating a pathway for you. And again, I hope you'll click and have a discovery call with me. If not, you will be in my email list, and you'll see some offers come over for master classes. And if you decide at some point later on, Breakthrough Fear is for you, or the Miracle Circle, or any number of master classes, then you can access those, and I'll get to see you live, and we'll work on this together. It's not an easy journey, but it's absolutely something you can start today and see those amazing effects. Cause and effect. I know you can do it because you're already perfect. Thank you so much for your time and attention. We can make this happen. We can open up the doors to a new earth. It's on the other side. We just have to step through. Breakthrough Fear. I'll see you there. Namaste.